Hi, welcome to the Men's Forum. I'm your host, Gary Costanza, and tonight we're bringing you part 2 of this compilation of television talk show clips that I've collected over the years with me participating and friends and fellow activists. Tonight we really have a really jam-packed show for you. There's 3 clips. They're all about 8 minutes long. Actually, I believe the first one's about 18 minutes long, and the other 2 round out the half hour. The first one is a show called Rolonda, where we discuss child support. Well, actually, I make my comments from the audience, and on that show is Mel Feit, a friend of mine, Ruben, who's in the audience with me. Garrett's on the stage. And as I said, Mel Feit is on the stage. He really steals the show. Great show about child support. And my God, wait till you get a look at what I look like. I don't know what I was thinking. Let me know what you think of my fashion style in that first Rolonda show. The next show, TV Nation, famous film producer Michael Moore at one time had a television show called TV Nation, and he set out to embarrass the men's movement. His take on it was that we were angry white men, but of course, you know what we fight for. We're angry men. Nothing to do with color, certainly not. We're a fan of civil rights, and this is the new civil rights, male oppression. So take a look at that. See. That was pretty amazing. He tried to nail us down, 3 of us. The other 2 guys really weren't in the men's movement. They were in some other sort of movement, I don't know what. But he didn't get me to embarrass myself. That's all that's how I see it. I like the guy, but he's too black and white with the male-female issue. He doesn't think men have a problem, where he's dead wrong on that. The third show, the Charles Perez show, about women who control their boyfriends. I get up and I put in my 2 cents. Tell me what you think. Here are the clips, 3 clips. Enjoy them.
If you are joining us now, we are talking about divorce today, and we've been talking to Elizabeth and Rita, who say that they feel victimized all throughout their divorce. But before we move on to some two men who say that they too feel victimized, I wanted to ask you ladies how you're supporting yourselves now. Elizabeth?
Well, basically I'm borrowing money from family members and things like that to pay my legal expenses to keep the children that I was originally awarded in the custody. So essentially I have to pay out to keep them.
Life has changed an awful lot since that divorce.
Absolutely.
What has the most difficult thing been beyond the monetary?
Little things like it's baseball season, and and I'm really scrimping to pay for my son to play baseball. Soccer, like little things that children grow up with that are normal.
This is where the dad should be saying, "I'll put our differences aside, but my kid needs to experience."
So the position there would be that if he lives with me, he will have these things.
Oh, this is part of his...
Absolutely. And then, as a mother, you'll start to think, well, how much can I deny my children? And you have to weigh out, the love that you can give them, the nurturing you can give them, provided what will that ultimately cost them in the long run?
Rita, how are you supporting yourself?
I have a disability, which isn't very much coming in, and my ex-husband either took from my mother or caused her to support us in those early years, so he impoverished my widowed mother.
So now, to your name, you have what?
I have the Best Equitable Distribution Award since the law was passed, but actually I have $125 in the bank, and my daughter and I are facing our 3rd eviction proceeding. And that's all I have.
I understand that things got so difficult and so dark at one point that you even considered taking your own life.
Yes, I did. I made a rather major suicide attempt.
What did you do? And why? What was it that was the last straw for you?
It was watching what he did to my children and not being able to help and not being functional enough to take care of him anymore. I slipped into an agitated depression. I mean, I would never have done a thing like that if I had been in my right mind. And because we were so poor, there was no money to pay for treatment. I took 290 pills and half a pint of vodka to potentiate the pills, and this was 3 years into all of this stuff.
Wow.
And
so this is part of that feeling of feeling as victim, feeling like a victim.
Totally helpless.
I want you women are not the only ones who feel like victims in divorce. I want you to meet two men who say they feel the same way. This is Garrett Nagel. He says that his life has been ruined by his divorce. He says that his wife has had the police arrest him 6 times on various charges, and that has hurt his reputation. I also want you to meet Mel Feit. He says that cases like Garrett's are not unusual, and he argues that the courts are stacked against husbands. He is now the executive director of the National Center for Men. Welcome, gentlemen. So, Garrett, when you say, I feel like a victim in this divorce, I think it's one thing that brings men and women together, that during a divorce, folks do feel victimized. In your way, I mean, how did you get arrested 6 times?
Very simply, I tried to see my children, and she just didn't want it.
So you got arrested on what grounds?
Anything ranging from aggravated harassment all the way to felonies.
Wow. And these charges were dismissed?
Absolutely. And in one particular case, I had a trial by jury, and I had to sue my ex-in-laws, malicious prosecution.
So, boy, 6 times being arrested, that does not help the reputation at all. What has that done for you, for your business, for people who know you?
Well, it has hurt me immensely. It's embarrassment. I have no relationship with my children for that period of time from 1984 to 1989. And to this day, I still don't even know what this daughter looks like now. This was the last picture.
How old is she there?
She's approximately 8 or 9 years old.
Wow. And how old is she today?
Today she's 13.
Oh, boy.
So this is the weapon that this particular individual used against me. My other daughter recently came into my life. She's living with me now.
She's 17?
17.
And you have a good relationship with her?
She has frozen feelings. It's the beginning of a relationship. I'm learning really all over again how to be a parent. And I had to fight a system that was a natural right for me. This natural right was taken away from me.
Why do you say it's stacked against men?
Well, very simple. Well, against this man it was stacked, okay? Anything that I did, anywhere I went, okay, they always said, well, you know, for example, a policeman arrested me on one particular charge, and he says, you know, you have an extremely good-looking wife. Why don't you listen to your ex-wife? Now, I mean, what does this have to do with me treating my children?
What is she? Oh, gosh.
As tragic as Garrett's story is, it is typical. You know, I think that one of the things that happens, especially in custody cases and in divorces, is that women accuse their husbands of sexually abusing their children or some other kind of abuse. Garrett was falsely accused 6 times. And although I can't prove this, I think there are a lot of unethical, unscrupulous lawyers who advise their female clients to lie. And you know something? It is too easy now. It is too easy. Rolonda, let me finish.
Go on, Mel.
It is too easy now to destroy an innocent person. All you have to do is point a finger at that person and say the word sexual abuse, and the person is destroyed.
Wait a minute. Come on. We've got quite a response from you.
That's right.
Are you divorced?
I'm divorced, but I'm in the same process that Garrett is going through. A phone call of accusations. I had my own electronics business 26 years. I'm in jail with criminals. And just because they can make phone calls and I can be picked up at any time, I'm very seriously considering just never, ever leaving my daughters alone. They gave me this. I'm the best. I have my
Says, Dad, you are the best.
going on. It's a war, but I have to learn. I have to learn from you, Mel.
I want to say what ought to be done, because I want to make a proposal here to change things. I think an accusation that's made should not be taken seriously unless there's physical evidence or eyewitness testimony to corroborate that, because it is too easy to lie about this. It's too easy to make it up. It's too easy to destroy innocent people.
Hold want to say, I think it's interesting Dad here has his combat boots on. A businessman in combat boots.
This is a different fight. My girls expect me to fight for them. They're 12 and 8 years old. When my wife abandoned us, I told my girls I would never leave them alone. They expect me, but the laws are not with me. I have to change things, and I need some help changing things.
Hold on, Mel, I'm going to let you respond to that, because obviously on both ends we're hearing that things need to be changed. Thank you very much for sharing your story. I see there's some other divorced fathers who want to speak about this also. Also, when we return, we're going to find out from our guest attorney what steps both men and women, fathers and mothers, can take to protect themselves and their children and their property during a bitter divorce. We'll be right back. Today and how devastating it can be if you're not prepared, some difficult things that you have to deal with, especially if you're a parent. Reuben was the businessman in combat boots, because he's at war so much, and this is your daughter Leslie.
Yes.
Leslie, what is it like being the kid in between all these bitter divorce battles? And
it tears you up. It definitely tears you up into two different areas. Being a kid, you're scared. You don't know what's right and what's wrong, who's right and who's wrong. I am the daughter from his first marriage, and I'm watching what's going on with my two little sisters now all over again, and they're having a hard time. Mm-hmm. They love him, he loves them, and right now they can't see him. They want to see him. They're very, it's not fair. It's not fair. They're too young. He's a great man. He stuck by me the whole time. I made it. They need him, because he'll make them make it.
Fight for the right. Fight for the right. They're depending on me. She helps me a lot. Mm-hmm. She helps my other two daughters a lot.
I want to make a point. You said you were abandoned. And I just want to say why I think the system is so stacked against men. You see, I think that no-fault divorce has been a disaster for men. And I think women now have incentive to get divorced. And I'll tell you why. In a traditional marriage where, the man is a primary breadwinner and the woman does most of the work at home, when that relationship ends, the husband's obligations to the wife continue. He still has to pay her support, but her obligation to him is over. I have never heard of a judge ordering a woman receiving alimony to go to the ex-husband's place to do the housework. Let me make my point. If you're a woman and you're in a marriage that has fallen on hard times, divorce can be a very attractive alternative, because, look, you get rid of the son of a bitch, you don't have to put up with his aggravation, and you still get a check. And I think that's the reason why most divorces in this country are now initiated by women and not by men.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay, let's get to our attorney, because listen, we have a woman who's coming on later who agrees with you, but from a different perspective. It sounds like we're saying the same thing, but from just different positions. Let me introduce Jamie Colby to you. She's a business attorney who says that there are steps that you can take before, during, and even into a divorce, if that's the unfortunate thing you have to do, but if you find yourself there, how to go into a divorce and be prepared to look at it as a business deal and to get what you want, or at least what's fair. Before we continue with my next guest, who needs some help because he's also facing an upcoming divorce and he needs a little help trying to get his finances together, let me introduce you to Paul Grinnis. He says that, you're one of those examples that we were talking about before you got here. You are a man whose wife has been the principal breadwinner, and now that you're about to get a divorce, you find yourself wondering where you're going to get money. Before we come to you, and Jamie's going to help us figure out what to do in this situation, there are a lot of people asking, Mel, why are you wearing the skirt? Well, there are a lot of people.
No one said anything about the way Elizabeth is dressed. So you know what?
Yeah.
You know what?
Why? But tell them why you do this.
It's just what I wear. Mm-hmm. It's my choice, and I have a right to be respected for my choice.
Mel says if women can do it, so can men. Okay.
But I'd like to know when you last lived on welfare and food stamps, as I did and my children, whom you're talking about.
I understand that divorce is difficult for women. I'm not here to say it's not.
I think we have individual cases. I also think that there isn't a general legal statement that applies, because in the course of these 10 years, I have made thousands of court appearances. I did finally, by sheer dint of persevering, win the Best Equitable Distribution Award that's come down. This is what I've heard.
But it took you 10 years of a hard fight.
It took 6
Plus she has her kids.
Yes, I have my children.
Let me ask.
But the point I'm trying to make,
and please make it quickly. We're moving along.
Okay.
Come on.
You can negotiate all you want. My thing took 10 years, and I still have no enforcement, and I have a judgment there worth $1.3 million. So there was no way to prepare.
The good news for Mel is that things are changing. For example, with custody, where the mother was always presumed to be the better parent, judges do look at the best interests of the child. They do. There have been many cases where men have gotten custody. But you know what? It's all about who's the most prepared, because the parent who comes in and can prove that they will be the most suitable parent for that child because of income or surroundings, and we're all capable of taking care of our children if we want to.
What about taking care of our mortgages, our bills, clothes, putting food on the table? Paul, right now, as we mentioned before, is very concerned. His wife happened to be the major breadwinner. What does he go through as a man when he's facing divorce?
Well, he goes through the same thing, and you know the trend has changed.
Hold on a second. Let's hear from Paul.
Okay.
Paul, what are you going through? What does this do to a man, to your life, to your pocket?
Well, it's practically devastated me. You go through emotional trauma of being divorced, and then you put the pieces together, and what I'm trying to do is negotiate. I'm trying to go to court to be able to say what is going on in my life, and my wife and their attorney is just keep on delaying things.
What is the biggest difficulty you're having with this beyond the obvious?
My son, I have a 3-year-old son, and I get to see him only when my wife wants me to see him. No, she's controlling. She's got the power in this divorce. She has the money. She has the lawyer. I try to negotiate with her, but she's not negotiating.
Is it because there's that anger and all that residual stuff that happens when couples break up that's getting in the way?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We went to counseling prior to our breakup. We even went to counseling to have an amicable divorce. And then my wife filed for divorce with this cruel and inhuman treatment. She wants sole custody of my child. She wants me to provide insurance. She wants me to...
How are you going to do all that?
Well, I think that I have a moral and legal obligation to provide for my son. And but right now, I'm physically disabled, and I'm in a new profession. So I'm just...
Question.
I would like to ask Rita, she seems like she's such a victim, Elizabeth also. What is the most precious thing that you could have taken from your marriage?
My children.
The children, right? And you both got them, didn't you?
That's because I
Okay,
stayed home every day.
and you're
That's
claiming
not
you're the
bad.
victims?
That's why I stayed
How
home
can you
every
say
day
that?
because I'm not a victim.
You
I stayed
have
home
your
every
children.
day for 10 years.
I was the engaged parent. My ex-husband was a totally
You want your
disengaged.
children, the most precious thing
Now,
that you could get from your marriage.
Children.
And you're complaining that you're victims?
I'm not a victim here. I'm sharing my story to help other women, other people.
That's right.
I'm not a victim.
They were not.
One at a time, because we all need to listen to this.
She complains about, Elizabeth.
One at a time, please.
Elizabeth's complaining that she's got to stay home for a phone call. This man's been arrested 6 times. I mean, what's worse?
I think that I'm under house arrest. It's very uncomfortable. I'm under house arrest. I'd like to. I do have my children. And we need to go out at 8 o'clock.
Question.
Like he does.
Okay, in his comment, she has the most precious things, but what's the sense of having the precious things if you don't have money to take care of them?
Well, then that's what is she willing to make a trade for $300,000 and give your children back?
Pardon me?
Would you rather trade your children for the money?
It's two separate issues.
I think we're mixing apples and oranges here. The bottom line is that there's some children. Bottom line is there's some children sitting in the middle of this, wondering where the next plate is going to come from, wondering when somebody's going to give them emotional support. What do we do to get beyond this? Jamie, what are some of the biggest mistakes that we make so that whether you're a father or a mother, that you end up in a situation like this? Some of the biggest mistakes that either parent makes when they walk into that courtroom are things like what?
That's right. And the best way for everybody here to maximize their situation...
So tell me some of the biggest mistakes that people make when they go into...
Not being prepared and not being involved. You need to start early. You need to accumulate all the documentation. A judge isn't just going to say, oh, you lived in a beautiful house and you had great food and you went on great vacations. You've got to prove what type of house you lived in, what kind of vacations. That means keeping a journal, having pictures.
You also said that Garrett could possibly see his children under what kind of a...
I don't know what the visitation order was in his case, but courts do try for liberal visitation where appropriate. And, excuse me, Mel, I know you're ready to go, but once I want to help Garrett, okay? The Buckley Amendment is a law that allows fathers or mothers who do not have custody information based upon what is happening with their children in school. So he can get some information even if his ex-spouse chooses to withhold.
Now what about Paul? Can he get some money to live his life based upon him not being the major breadwinner? I mean, what does a man do when he finds himself in a position that most women do? We'll discuss that right after this. We'll be right back.
Kind of sorry for me because, you know, I'm a white guy.
Not at all. You got all the advantages.
No, you know, a lot of white guys are saying they're the most oppressed minority these days.
I would really like to see evidence of that.
You would?
Yes, I would.
Well, listen to this.
The white man. He's everywhere. Great white men include leaders, entrepreneurs, and artists. For centuries, the white man has expanded his habitat to include every corner of the earth. He's invented everything from the A-bomb to the Zamboni. Surely this sparkling example of the human species will be with us forever. Or will he? Maybe, like the mighty buffalo, we've taken the white man for granted. Already, there are disturbing signs that the white man as we know him is an endangered species.
This is psychologically a difficult time for a lot of white males.
What you see behind you is symbolic of the real endangered species.
To help us better understand the plight of the male Caucasian, TV Nation consulted 3 experts on saving the white man. Gary Costanza is membership director of the National Center for Men.
And we're led to believe that women are considered second-class citizens? Forget it. Forget it. Men are second-class citizens. Third-class citizens.
Frank M. Borzolleri is president of the New York Rifle Association and a member of a local New York school board.
Well, I think that white men are under some sort of a political siege.
Hugh Nations is aboard of the National Coalition of Free Men.
I think that men are under attack.
And the attack has taken its toll. Everywhere you look, the white man is in decline.
You know, I would like to play it a little bit longer, maybe a year or 2 more, but there's just no way possible I was going to be able to do that. So today I'm retiring.
10 years ago, 96% of the U.S. Senate was composed of white males. Today, that figure has dwindled to a scant 89%. In the last few years, corporate boardrooms, the traditional habitat of white men, have undergone an unprecedented invasion by outsiders. Today, white male earnings have plunged to only 30% more than everyone else. Truly, the white male is being threatened on all sides by his natural enemies. Minorities.
We're force-feeding different ethnic groups at the expense of whites.
Women.
Ladies' night is, first of all, out and out illegal. I mean, you can't discriminate on the basis of sex.
The truth is, women do lie about rape.
And basically everyone who isn't a white male.
We are being made to feel guilty for the oppression of so-called oppressed minorities.
He's fighting back.
I am against quotas.
In the only way he knows how.
No to quota bills. and no to affirmative action.
But he's tired.
Affirmative action is another federal policy out of control.
And who knows how long he can hold out without our help. While environmentalists demonstrate on behalf of the spotted owl and the snail darter, there has been some reluctance to help the white man. Yet without the white man, we are all the worse off. Who will bring us the A-bombs and Zambonis of tomorrow? Who will paint their faces at football games? Why settle for...
You may have the grace to look up.
when you can have...
Men in pants, men in pants.
In other words, to put it in a nutshell, we're carrying the burden of the world on our shoulders.
The white man clearly needs our help. Support TV Nation's efforts to get the white man recognized as an endangered species by sending your letters to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Remember, a white is a terrible thing to waste.
Everything is size and definition.
All right, we're back with another question.
Excuse me, do you have a wife or girlfriend?
What? That's none of your business. Sit down.
Do you have a wife? Is she retarded? Is she retarded? Is she retarded? She must be.
Well,
She must be.
She was better than you. You know what?
No.
Sit your butt down. All right, another comment. Yeah,
First of all, you have no respect. You have no respect. A real woman.
Can you do me a favor? Pick some of the guys for a change.
A real woman wouldn't even touch you. A real woman wouldn't even touch you. First of all, you look like a fake pimp.
Okay, that's fine. Let me see. We have a gentleman right here. All right.
I like to ask Shady what exactly she does for her men. I mean, does she pay for dates? I mean, you fix their cars?
Do you? Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, you basically believe in equality,
Let's
right?
tell you something right there. Wait.
I don't hear anything.
Bring out a very important point. She's been with her boyfriend for 5 years.
Yes.
And why haven't you married him? I'll tell you why. Hold on, I'll tell you why. Not even to say that I'm in your business, but I can tell you why. Because why?
Shady Conrad. Let me tell you why I am not married. Okay, not every woman wants to be married. Okay.
Not to you. Definitely not to you.
No, I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying?
I am not ready to get married. Not only that, if I wanted to.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed those clips. The TV Nation was a lot of fun for me. There's my claim to fame. TV Nation, a Michael Moore production. I had a lot of fun doing all that stuff. Brings back memories. Friends and activists, we were doing a good thing. But we're continuing it. With your help, we'll succeed. All right, thank you, and good night from the Men's Forum.